I am fully convinced there is something in the water regarding adaptations right now and just season twos and TV shows that have been coming out. At least ones that have been really popular. I'm going to start off talking about The Last of Us 2 as an example. So, I was really excited for The Last of Us Season 2. I had not played the games originally when the season was first coming out, but then I decided to give the games a go and ended up really liking both of them. And what's very odd is Season 2 has been pretty bad, as you can see from all the videos that I've made. But what is so confusing to me, and it's not really isn't confusing, it actually makes a lot of sense, is how behind the scenes, it's just a disaster. So I sit here and I'm just like, okay, The Last of Us 2 has issues because of this and because of this and because of this, yada yada yada. This is why The Last of Us 2 has problems. And then I start delving into the behind the scenes stuff. And I find out that the head creative writer for season 2, Craig Mazin, um is kind of crazy. And when I say kind of crazy, I'm not saying that to be mean or to generalize. I don't know if any of you have been listening to the podcasts that release with The Last of Us episodes, but he said in the most recent podcast that Neil Druckmann had to convince him to keep in the part where Ellie starts to sing Joel's song. Not only that, he says he believes Ellie and Dina's relationship to be a parent-child dynamic. And I just don't understand how you come to that conclusion. And even if you come to that strange conclusion, why on earth would you say that out loud? Like, what possesses a man to say such an outlandish thing that he should know people aren't gonna like? You know what I mean? But what's odd is season 1 wasn't like this, right? Like, season 1 of The Last of Us, I think, was a really solid adaptation. Granted, it's a simpler story, but I think really solid overall. The changes that it made weren't terrible. I actually enjoyed quite a few of the changes. And it was just a solid season of television. Like, sure, maybe everything wasn't perfect, but the game players enjoyed it. People like me at the time who hadn't actually played the game still enjoyed it. And I just don't understand how in between season 1 and season 2 so much changes. And then I come to find out that behind the scenes it's a mess. Like, they don't have the same writing team apparently, and Craig Mason has been at the head of this season, probably because season 1 was so successful, and because of that, it's been a disaster. But what I find interesting is this isn't the first show this year to have the same issue. And ironically enough, it's two things that I've covered the most in this channel, right? So for those of you that watch my content, it's no secret that I think The Last of Us 2, not The Last of Us 2, Arcane Season 2 is a disaster. Just full out, Arcane Season 2 is a disaster that doesn't feel like Season 1 of Arcane, just feels like an entirely different story made by an entirely different group of people. And I come to find out, while I'm researching for my Arcane Season 2 videos, that Arcane Season 2, in between development, had a massive change in the writing room. In Season 1, they said that there was a 9 to 5 writing room filled with, I think 15 to 20 people that worked 9 to 5 every day for months on end, crafting the story and really getting it down to what they wanted it to be. And with that, it makes sense as to why Arcane Season 1 was so well written, because you had a whole team dedicated to writing a good story. And then, because of the success of Season 1, and just weird behind the scenes stuff, Season 2 comes out, and Christian Link is just basically, not solo writing, but he gets to have the last decision on everything, and he made an overwhelming majority of the big decisions in Season 2 of Arcane. And I just don't understand why these creative directors, when given a Season 1 that's successful, just somehow overpower the narrative and take full control and make these decisions that they want to see, even if the audience, the major fans, and some writers disagreed with. It doesn't make sense how that can be allowed. And it's just such an odd thing that I feel like so many stories right now that start off good are being corrupted by the executives that are making the product kind of getting selfish in the story that they want to tell rather than the story that the game needs to tell. And I really thought people would learn their lesson, because after this one, which is of course my favorite story ever told, of course, all three, which are some of my favorites. Just oh, geez, this happens too. After what happened with D&D with Game of Thrones, where for those of you that don't know, the reason Game of Thrones goes down the drain in the later seasons is D&D decided they wanted to make the story a specific way that didn't actually fit the narrative that was being told previously, and they wanted to make Star Wars, so they just rushed it and did what they wanted to do. And I just don't understand why it's like so prominent nowadays for something to get really popular, and then the execs will just take it over and ruin the product. And then when you as an audience member like push back or explain why you don't really like what's happening, you get chastised for like saying anything. Like it's just so odd. And I don't know why this keeps happening. It could just be a coincidence, or it could be like a Hollywood issue, but I don't understand. And like especially with The Last of Us 2, the fact that they basically have like a whole like their game's here. They know what they can adapt and they still ruin it. Like it's beyond me. I think all they really needed to do with The Last of Us was just follow the game generally, even though the game wasn't well received, and then just maybe tweak a few things here and there that can enhance the story, or add a few things like the fight at Jackson. But now we're left with yet again another product that has been tainted by people who don't know the source material. Like, I don't know if you guys have actually been listening to the podcasts, but if you go and listen to them, it is baffling how much about the lore, how much about the direction of the characters Craig Mazin gets wrong. And it's like, dude, how are you trusted with a like multi-million dollar franchise and you haven't even properly read or experienced or played the lore? Just it doesn't make, I don't understand why Hollywood keeps giving these huge products that a lot of people would love to have to people who just don't care. You guys let me know if I'm going crazy, or is there some correlation behind the scenes that just is beyond what I know? I'm convinced that there has to be something funky in the water right now. All right, Lev, take your gas mask.